Hi, everyone. Just want to start this episode off with a big apology. Something was up with the microphones and I didn't catch it. So, this episode is going to sound like we're in a tunnel and echoey, and I am so sorry. I did my best to make it sound suitable, and I just wish to apologize. That is why this episode is late. And from the bottom of my heart, I feel so bad and terrible that it sounds like this, but I have fixed the problem, and hopefully this will not be a problem in the future. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Willem,
And I'm Tim.
and this is Hear Me Out Pitch.
Every time.
Every time. I like it. I like how Tim introduces the show different, and I stick with it. I like it. So someday though, he's gonna be like, hey, "This is Hear Me Out." I'm straight up just put the intro right after he says it. Just cut him off. We'll talk for a little bit, and then you'll just be like, "Yeah, welcome to Hear Me Out." Starts. But hey, man,
Howdy.
you look pretty comfy today.
I am comfy.
It's a whopping 69 degrees in my apartment, and it's like 49 degrees outside right now. Wait, we can actually see 43.
43.
Wow, it is the fall season.
Feels good.
It does feel
It feels
good,
really good.
but it kind of stinks that it's wet right now because leaves haven't really fell yet.
Fallen.
Have fallen. Thank you. Fallen. The fall of leaves. Like, I just wish like an epic title for autumn every year. Fall. Like, just like the Lich King. That's one I love, the Lich. Anyway, just excited for fall. And it's spoopy season. I actually have a little bit of decorations. My neighbors right across the hall keep adding stuff every day, and I'm like, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I don't know if I think because I put my wreath up, and I feel like they were like, "Oh, well, you put a wreath up, we got to go ham." Because the next day they added so much. I was like, and then I put my little skeleton piggy bank head on the corner, and I was like, they put like 2 more pumpkins. And I was like,
That's funny. It's like competition.
I'm like, I'm not even trying. I could go to my mom's house and be like, I need to show up my neighbors. Their balcony is awesome though. You can see it from outside, and it's really cool. It's covered in cobwebs. They love spoopy time.
Good. It's best holiday.
It's the best time of year, and I love how much. Well, I'd safe to say I believe Utah is a big lover of Halloween, despite its religious background. I think it really loves Halloween.
Yeah. I love Halloween because of the decorations and all the costumes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because one night a year that everybody can dress up however the heck they want. No questions asked. Right? Well, for the most part. I've seen some questionable ones. But for the most part, no questions asked. And it's not a convention. I don't have to pay $60 to enter a convention. I don't have to go to Comic-Con to spend money to dress up, you know?
Yeah.
I can just dress up.
So what was your costume that you wore the most a year? I'm guessing either like a Jedi or like...
I don't actually remember ever being a Jedi.
Really?
My dad might remember me being a Jedi, but I don't remember being a Jedi.
I was actually Anakin Skywalker when I was in kindergarten because Phantom Menace had just dropped. So my dad gave me a little robe and a little white shirt, and I had the robe. They tied it, a belt around it, and I had a little green flick lightsaber.
I know the lightsaber. I have it too.
It's actually at my grandmother's house in Washington. It got somehow distributed there, so I'll see my little cousins running around with it. But my father that year was Darth Maul. My mom worked really hard and painted his face.
That is impressive.
Because my dad had a double-sided flicking out lightsaber. Don't know where it went. I would kill for that thing nowadays because he was awesome. And he like showed up, made little kids cry, but he was still wearing his glasses because my dad wore glasses when I was a kid.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's funny that I actually was a Jedi. So I was a gargoyle the year after that. My mom made these big cardboard wings, painted my face. I was a gargoyle. Don't know why. I don't remember where. I think it was just because of an ad from the Nightmare Before Christmas VHS I had. That's a. I don't even remember what VHS stands for. Point. A video cassette. Sorry. That's not what VHS stands for. Anyway.
For those of you who don't know what a VHS is, go ask your parents. I'm sure they'll be disappointed.
I'm disappointed myself for not remembering what it stands for, and I'll make a note of it. Editor's note: VHS stands for Video Home System. Thank you. But for the most part, I was a vampire, like every year. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde one year, painted one face good, one face bad. Looked more like the Phantom of the Opera, but yeah, it's fine. So yeah,
I think I was a different thing like every single year. I remember being a Dementor.
So was I. I was
being a Dementor
a bunch of times because it's so easy. Throw a cloak on.
People kept asking, "Oh, you're the Grim Reaper." No, does it look like I have a scythe? No, I'm a freaking Dementor. Duh, you know.
Who's the guy who rows the boat in Greek mythology? Oh, I can't remember his name, but
starts with a C.
Oh, Charon?
Yeah, Charon.
Something like that.
Yeah.
At the rec center, they used to have like a little rowboat thing for Spooktacular. Mm-hmm. And one year, I just brought my Dementor cloak from years ago, and I just dressed up as him, and I just rowed the boat, didn't talk to people, and it creeped people out because I wouldn't say a word. I would just... They're like,
pay the toll.
Pay the toll. We had mermaids. These two girls and a boy were wearing those big unifins, and yeah, it was crazy.
Those are really difficult to swim with.
Yes. I say yes, but I had to practice with unifins for butterfly on swim team, so I actually got the hang of it. You're probably hearing the water fall from the AC system is just echoing all the dripping, so it's very calming.
It sounds
like someone's
like
tinkling
music.
Oh. I just love it. It's like it's raining outside, the sun's down, and you can hear all the cars pass, and it's just that whoosh sound.
You can hear the water being pushed out, thrown out.
Oh, I love it time of year.
It smells fantastic.
Oh, well, I just remember a lot of kids in junior high were, Ezio and all those other assassins, and there you go. There's my cheap segue.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, yeah, there were a few Halloweens where I had friends. I had one buddy in particular, who was obsessed with the games, and that was his costume. Every single year he was, if I remember right, he was a different assassin from Assassin's Creed every year. Different hood, different outfit, everything.
That's awesome.
It was really, and the coolest part was he made the hidden blades himself.
That's amazing.
By hand, and they worked. And his mom wouldn't let him use actual blades, so he made these little plastic blades that he got from taking just a storage tub, and he cut little blades out of the storage tub.
That's awesome.
And it was really
That's impressive. That's dedication. Hopefully he's doing like Comic-Con conventions now or something. That's amazing.
He is not.
Oh, but there you go, folks. We are doing Assassin's Creed movie from 2016, 2017. It was...
I'll double check.
With Michael Fassbender. It was... I hope I say his name right. For those who don't know who he is, he played young Magneto in X-Men First Class and all those other second-rate X-Men movies. There, I said it. The only good one to come out of that was Days of Future Past. That was it. That's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, 2016.
2016?
Sorry.
Dang. Yeah, that was a fever year for me. It was a blur.
That was the year I started high school.
I just turned 21. I turned 21 halfway through. So, 21. 21. Get it.
Sometimes I forget you're 6 years older.
I know, I'm old. I'm old.
Not
I know,
old.
I'm not old. It was funny. Random thing, and I swear we'll get to it, folks. Girl I used to work with at the rec center thought, I was like, aren't you like 30 by now? I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, you're only like 4 years younger than me. Jeez, calm down. And then my next door neighbor, who I've known since I was 10, sweet woman, very kind. She's dropping off some homemade bread for my mom after I was just saying hello to her. And she goes, oh, is your sister older than you? And I'm like, you've known us forever. You know I'm the oldest. I'm like, oh, whatever. I was like offended. I was like, all right. I'm like, I am the oldest brother. Like, you saw me walking with her by your home every day to school. She was like 6 inches shorter than me for most of that. So whatever, it's fine. Yeah. Not that old. 30's not that bad. Utah just likes people to think that you got to hurry up with your 20s and get married young before 25 and stuff.
Guilty.
Guilty. Not guilty for me, I'm glad. Kind of. Sometimes. It's fine. I'm fine. Everyone listening? Sure, there's nothing wrong with Willem. What's wrong with him? He's fine.
He's single. That's what's wrong.
It's fine. Just another holiday season. Alone. Oh.
You're not alone. You can third wheel with me and my
Oh,
wife.
I've done enough of that with all my friends, Tim. Since 2016, I've been third wheeling. It's fine. That sounds funny. It's fine. So, Assassin's Creed. Oh. So how would you have rated this movie, Tim?
So I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I put it at a 7 out of 10, I think. I played Origins. I didn't beat it. I played it. I played a little bit of Valhalla at Zach's house.
Okay.
That's the game that Tyler played Valhalla. I don't know if he ever finished it, but he played it for a while, like religiously. It was every time we were there, he'd hop on and play it. So I saw a lot of the gameplay for that. And that buddy that I mentioned earlier, growing up, anytime I'd hang out with him, it was someone in his family was playing it, whether it was him and I was sitting there watching, or I was playing something else on his other TV, or a sibling was playing, or his mom would play it. So I have some exposure to it, and I thought this was a fun take on the concept of the Animus and and everything. I thought it was fun. It made sense to me for the free roam, being able to actually do the movements and stuff, and physically follow the memories. But
yeah. So those of you who don't really know Assassin's Creed very well, it's a wonderful game series. I absolutely love them. I haven't really played the modern day ones since, actually past this movie, 2016 and up. I haven't really played any of those ones. I played a lot of the older ones before 2014, and that was Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, all about Ezio Auditore, the famous one. But what's so special about this game is that it really focuses on the Templars and the Assassins, the Mighty Templars being the people who were running the Crusades and so many things. They are a secret organization that is trying to just kind of rule over mankind, but also help it in their own twisted way. The Assassins are those of opposition. I would say the Assassins are more good. The Templars are more bad when it comes to what they want for humanity in the end. What's so special about these games is that you as the player are playing as these historical figures, but what's really going on is the descendants of these main characters are being hooked up to what is called the Animus, and they are basically reliving their ancestors' memories. And this game, and usually they're just strapped in a chair and you just play the game from there. This movie kind of did a very special take on it, and I personally didn't like it, but I'll let Tim kind of go more into it. And I get what they were trying to do, but for me, I just was like, it's just funky. It was just funky. And again, I was biased, so yeah.
Oh, and I get that. For me,
It was visually pleasing.
it was
though.
very visually.
It was
pleasing.
cool, and it was cool that they could literally watch what he was doing. I liked that, but I wanted to see more of the character and not the descendant. I would have wanted to see more of. Anyway, I'll let you explain.
No, and I agree. I would have liked to see Aguilar.
That was his name. Thank you.
He was the assassin.
And then Cal was his
Not
descendant.
Cal Kestis.
Thank
Different
you.
video game.
Oh,
Different video game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I pity you.
pathetic.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Anyway, I agree though. I would have liked to see more of the assassin and less of the modern day.
Yeah.
Like it made sense seeing all of the modern day, like seeing what the Templars were up to, why they were doing what they were doing. But I would have liked to see the assassin a little bit more, because when you take the games, right, the actual games, you play as the descendant for maybe 10% of the time
to get some breather, to drive the plot, and it's good storytelling to have. Sometimes some games they need to move the plot forward but give you a break, and I get it. You literally have filler episodes in your games. Some games do that decently. Assassin's Creed, I feel like some of those are good. The newest Spider-Man games, their filler episodes, the slower parts, but I still love those games. So excited for Spider-Man in 9 days, but whatever. Just that puppet hand. It wasn't a puppet hand.
Yeah. You feel like the Animus, they took it too far.
It was weird seeing him. So I know I said they basically would hook them into a Dr. Octopus style big giant arm. It would hook up to his neck, which was kind of cool that the imprint it made on the back of his neck slowly turned into the Assassin's Creed symbol. But it was so that people of Abstergo, the Templars, because Cal had been taken into Abstergo and was being observed, so they could find the Apple of Eden, the what do you call those? Oh, the little item that drives the plot forward. It's one of my favorite words.
I'm not sure what word you're looking for.
Give me a second. A MacGuffin. That's it.
A MacGuffin?
A MacGuffin. A MacGuffin literally means an object that drives the plot. And I forget which movie they literally codenamed it. Oh, it was a book I read. They literally called the thing. They're like, oh, we got to get the MacGuffin. And they asked the main character, why are you calling it MacGuffin? He's like, because it's driving the story. Like, this isn't a storybook. Like, we're all chasing after it. It's a MacGuffin. So MacGuffin means, I literally want to name my dog MacGuffin someday. It's hilarious. It's like McGruff the crime dog.
It just makes me think of Old Man McGucket from Gravity Falls.
Oh, man, McGucket! I got pigs in my eyes. You're like, okay, dude, calm down. I can't say straight. Anyway, so the MacGuffin is the Apple of Eden. Templars want to follow Cal into his descendants' life so they can see where the Apple of Eden went. And it was really cool watching some of the scenes. It was cool seeing his ancestor. What was his name again? Aguilar. It was so... Tim can speak Spanish, so honestly, the name probably stuck to him better. And the subtitles were doing this stupid thing on my TV where the subtitles that I set and the subtitles for Spanish to English were overlapping, so I miss half of it, and Tim's in the corner like, I don't need those.
I could understand it for the most part.
Okay.
Spain Spanish, pure Spanish is a little bit harder for me.
España.
It's a little harder for me to understand because it's not the same that I learned.
I love it. I love it. I love the accent. I try not to chuckle. My friend went to Spain and he speaks Spanish. I always laugh at him. I'm like, ah! Anyway, so Aguilar. He was really awesome. I really want to know. I wish I would have gotten more of his story. There was so much. They hinted that his family was burned by the Spanish Inquisition in front of him. Like, that was very intriguing. I would have loved to have just focused on that, because that is really what the audience wants to see. And we could have maybe had another 30 minutes of that, and I would have been okay. Mm-hmm. But I get they had to pull him out because you can't be in Abstergo for too long. But you're literally playing the game for hours before that happens. I mean, even if you run with the main plot of the story, at least in the Assassin's Creed games I played, you literally play for like 2 hours or 3. Like the missions, if you do it like smoothly, bam, 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 2 to 3 hours, and then you're thrown out.
I mean, it might be just from an in-universe perspective. It might be that because it was a free form, a free movement version of the Animus, it might be that he's wearing his body out a lot more.
See, I think it would have actually done better because this isn't like Avatar, the blue people one. I'm actually talking about the blue people one for once. When they transfer their consciousness into their avatars and they transfer back, they have to actually work out for a little bit because they're not moving. So for him to actually work and get stronger, which made sense at the end of the fight scene, his body had muscle memorization. That was cool. But I just feel like the Templars wouldn't want their assassins that they had captured, which still confused me that they actually had some assassins there, make them basically get trained to become assassins, and because they're going through this expensive labor.
The assassins they had there were their roadmap to Cal. That's so they found those assassins, and they used those assassins in their memories, and it would lead them to the Apple of Eden, which was taken by Aguilar.
And they probably were in there a long time, getting all their information. They probably were doing all that. So they all got trained. So they might have been just normal people, which still bugged me that at the end of the movie, they have the big breakout scene that they have that weird, like out of body experience where he's seeing his ancestors with Abstergo. His dead mother approaches him. Oh, it was just...
I like to imagine, and I was thinking about it today at work, and I'm imagining that it was more of a hallucination than anything.
Okay, I can wrap my head around that.
I guess to take the psychological side of the human mind, from what I understand, when you are subject to something intense,
because his brain, it showed on the brain scanners, was like firing like crazy.
When your brain is working a lot harder, that memory is stored fresh, right? And then your dreams are going to reflect a lot of the recent stuff, as well as some older stuff put in there, but a lot of the recent stuff. I had a dream last night that the dream I had was basically all this. It was a conversation I had with a coworker, and the conversation became my dream, and what we talked about was my dream, and it was weird, but it was kind of cool. But I'm imagining that Cal, after having gone through the Animus, been in the Animus for that long, and he had essentially become Aguilar. He hadn't just relived it; he had become Aguilar. And at that point, I think having become an assassin, his mind would start hallucinating, I guess, those images, and maybe it was the Animus, because that is the quote that his mother used, was something that she had told him when he was a kid.
Did she?
I believe so.
I think that his dad mentioned something, but at the beginning of the movie, it showed Aguilar. It showed him being inducted into the
Yes.
Assassin's Creed. It showed him. It showed his time. The movie starts off with him getting inducted, and then it shows Cal as a kid, and it has the weird thing about his dad help. Well, it looks like his dad kills his mom. His dad's wearing an assassin's hood, and then it cuts to Cal being it. I don't know. There was some things about Cal's life that I was like, this is sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of cool that
it's the life of an assassin, though.
Because they were trying. So the Templars were trying to get the Apple of Eden, which is this amazing artifact. Which after this movie, they went from being just one apple to 9, because many different characters of the franchise have interacted with the Apple of Eden. But the Apple of Eden just gives off great power. It can literally change minds.
It can rewrite the genetic code.
And they were basically trying to take away men's free will, because to the Templars, free will is what leads to chaos. And in my opinion, in a little philosophical way of seeing it, yeah, it is. But that's the beauty of life. We get the choice to either make wonderful choices or bad. You have to have good or evil. If you think of the laws of Newton's third law, for every
action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
And there's all these different philosophies and cultures all over the world. Yin and yang, push and pull, the Nordic wolves, always chasing the moon and sun. One devours, one eats, one laughs. And it's just how we are. Humans are so beautiful because we're so beautiful, yet we are so awful. And that's what is amazing about us, in my opinion. Hot take from Willow.
No, and I agree. I think the ability to choose is fantastic.
So that scares me to me.
I don't want to be a robot.
I don't want to be a robot either.
No, and that I agree. The idea that the Templars would take an artifact and use it to rewrite humanity's genetic code to eradicate violence, because that was what they originally were going for. They wanted to eradicate violence, and in turn they would eradicate the assassins, because the assassins and Templars were enemies. But I don't know. I feel like once you eliminate free will, we're not human anymore.
No, and it's funny.
We're the same as any other animal. We're the same as our pets, as the dogs and cats we care for, as the bears.
Well, not even then at that point.
That we see at the zoo.
Because a dog will kill stuff on instinct. So that is a very interesting question. Wow, that's because if we take away a human's free will, would it just be going on instinct? Would it be a robot with natural instincts? Would it have emotion? Like, it's just interesting, because even if we look at most AI with robots, in the end, most robots try to overthrow humans. And it's just funny, because I think that no matter what they try to do, it ain't going to happen, because that's what's so crazy. Because even if it's like, if you take away it completely and we're just drones, we are actually less than animals, because we will just stand there doing it. We'll be like lobotomized. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it's just there's no way to.
We will become vegetables, unable to function.
I think that's the flaw, because no matter who you are, and I don't care how fancy of an organization you think you are, or anything out there that thinks that they can do it, it just isn't gonna work. Because even in the end, if they try to be like, we're gonna make the perfect citizen, no, you need to choose to be good. You can't force someone to be good. you're just going to end something that's just suppressing, and then one day snaps. It's just. Anyway, we're not here to talk about philosophy, but this is the Templars' goal, is to rewrite the human condition. And they kind of were trying to prove a point with all the assassins because since they are descendants of assassins, it is in their blood to be violent. Cal, weirdly enough, which we never got more of an explanation, is we see him first as an adult being put to death in death row. Death by lethal injection.
Because he had murdered somebody.
A pimp.
Yes.
Did the pimp owe him money? There's so many questions. They don't even, they mention that and then it's gone. Which I really wished we could have seen that other than his backstory with his mom. I think as soon as, what's his ancestor's name again? I struggle.
Aguilar.
I struggle with G, like AG names, like those kind of, like Agatha, like those kind of names. I'm like, Aguilar. Aguilar is inducted into the creed. It should have just gone straight to him being walked into the hall. I don't know why they were like showing him drawing weird faces. They never counted on him like hinting that he had mental issues because he's like drawing all these morbid faces. Like it looked like he was mentally insane. And then he killed a pimp. And it's like, if you're going to at least show us that he's insane, don't just start right in the prison, or at least show us footage of him. Maybe he's naturally amazing. He's doing crazy acrobatic or something that's hinting that he's something special. I don't know. It just was so weird.
How I would have. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. There are things I would have changed. And one of the things I would have changed is I would have had him be an assassin.
You did mention that.
I would have had him already have been an assassin growing up. Maybe so that he could be good enough to be able to kill his dad because his dad killed his mom. Something like that. I don't know. Or even just to follow the ways of the assassin, to follow the creed. And I feel like in prison, instead of this is an image that I'm seeing that I think could be fun, right? The assassins were cunning, they were creative, they were very, very talented, very athletic. And I'm imagining that instead of the insane, crazy people, crazy faces that he draws, I'm imagining he's creating like a code, right? He's putting up all these pictures, and in each one there's a code to the Templars, and it's basically screw you, right? If they can crack it, it's just screw you kind of thing. I'm imagining that's something that he would do.
I honestly might have just no Templars in this one. I would have just gotten a complete assassin's point of view. The Templars maybe would have killed his parents. I think maybe it would have been cheesy to do the whole, oh, it's like Ezio's story. But the thing is, they're at war with the Templars. Most of the Assassin's Creed stories, you lose a family member at the very beginning, or you stumble upon the creed, and it doesn't matter. They get thrusted with this responsibility. They lose family. They are these awesome hero types. At least for the assassins, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, they are more of the good guys. You do play games where it seems that the scales are tipping. Syndicate was kind of weird. But I really think that I would have had his parents get killed when he was a teenager. And I was thinking they were going to set up that his dad, I would have had the Templars like frame his dad. Maybe he still wanted to hunt his dad down, or just in general, his parents just pass away, and then the assassins take him in. They hook him up to their Abstergo, and they're like, we got to find this because the Templars are getting close to this thing. And we go through.
Abstergo is the place.
Yeah.
The Animus.
Oh, sorry, Animus. Sorry. If I have been saying that wrong.
You've been saying it like the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
But it's fine.
It's like when I kept calling the Beldam from Coraline Bedlam.
Uh-huh.
There's actually a YouTuber who calls her the Bedlam the whole darn video, and I was like, so I do the same thing. I am so sorry. The Animus, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would have had him go in the Animus after, maybe he's on the run after his parents died. The Assassin's Creed totally get to him, and he gets inducted kind of at a younger age. And then he goes into the Animus, and we can have him be Michael. Or even we just have a younger teenage actor, and Michael Fassbender is the descendant. I mean, is the ancestor. I wouldn't have cared either way. But it was just weird. I think Abstergo was. I like the fact of the Abstergo, and I know that symbol's evil, but I think for now it would have just been cooler to have us follow for like 45 minutes, 50 minutes to an hour of us just following Aguilar. We get that whole story of him rescuing that prince that the Spanish are trying to capture, having him fight, get captured, free himself from the execution, and then him and the female assassin, who we never know her name, how I got pretty attached to. She kind of sacrificed herself at the end. It was just, I would have liked that to all just be one complete block. It would have been just cool. And I know maybe we could have had them watching Cal on the outside and talking about what they're seeing and talking about how he's doing, making sure his vitals are good to remind us that this is a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just
well,
like,
maybe pull him out every now and again, right? So he can eat and sleep.
Oh yeah, they like have little scenes of that. Maybe they have him train after, like, all right, let's go do some training, and they're talking, and then maybe like the final scene, kind of have it be like with Desmond, because the Templars are the higher group, because they're not in the shadows. They are like, we have money, we have power, we are in your face. The Templars, sorry, call back to a few episodes ago. The Templars are totally like the Court of Owls. Think that kind of secret organization, but just in Gotham with their own little assassins. That is what they're like. Anyway, the Templars are right in your face, but also hidden. They have the symbol. They don't care. They've changed from the T to the Abstergo symbol, that kind of thing. So I just imagine that they're always hiding, running, just like in the games. The assassins are always hiding and running, and finally they're trying to break down the door of the warehouse. You see the assassins get ready. They get him out. So very similar to the other games, because that's just the repeating cycle of Templars versus Assassins. It just always is the Assassins just getting the crap beat out. I don't know. Yeah. I just would wanted to have felt like the game, even though it might have felt like not like a complete knockoff, but the story is just very similar. In this one, they were trying too hard to focus on the modern day. I do want to have a modern day take. I really do, but not like this. Okay. I wanted to get introduced to a new assassin that if this movie did well, they could have been like, did you all like that character? Here's a game. And like, or we just get his costume in the DLC. I don't know. Sorry, that was like a rant.
No, you're good. So what do you think would be a good template for making a movie out of a video game then?
Oh, that is a good question.
Because I think it's a tough question.
It is a tough question, because if we look at Prince of Persia, which I definitely would love for us to talk about, because and I hope most of you loved it. I sure do love it, but there's just some things that I'm like, this doesn't feel like the game. Like, I want to be able to think that I could be playing this game, that I could be playing this as a movie. Like, if they just converted it to the game, it would be like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I would want to feel like, oh, that's cool. I want to really have them incorporate the moves from the game, the things you can do, some like the key elements. Like in Prince of Persia, really quick thing is I would have really focused on the toll that rewinding time is. Because in the second video game of Prince of Persia, you have the Dahaka, the guardian of the sands. And this thing will find anomalies that aren't supposed to be there, and he will eradicate it. And it's this terrible demon thing. It speaks backwards, so when you rewind time, you understand him. It's terrifying. that one was rated M for a reason. It was weird because he goes to the sand island, but it is one of my favorites. Anyway, but I would have already hinted at that as soon as he started pressing it in the movie to kind of get a hint to encourage us. Because since we already have so much going on in the Prince of Persia franchise, why can't we just start hinting at those little things and set up for the next movie? Because it's not like the game where you make a game and you're like, all right, what can we do now for the second one? The movie, you go, here is the whole franchise we have right now. We can hint at this third game already in the first game. If they made a Halo movie, well, they've already done, and oh, I don't want to talk about the Halo stuff. I tried watching it. I was like, no.
We'll have Zach on for that one.
We definitely will. I think that would be a great episode for Zach to be on. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to your template. I feel like use the material that you have and then try to play with the emotions. If we look at early Marvel, that's what they did. They took stuff that the movie was based. Took comics that the movie was loosely based on, and they incorporated it. The Civil War movie, when they are fighting under the bunker of the missile silo, they're fighting at the bottom of the missile silo, and Iron Man goes to shoot Cap with a double pulse beam, and Captain puts his shield up. That is the cover of the Civil War comic. It's an iconic panel. It is such a good read. And just for them to put that there, I was like, yes, that's awesome. Black Panther getting introduced. They did it in such a good way. It killed me. It killed me that they killed his father. Because usually T'Challa's father is killed by M'Baku, funny enough. But
really,
yes, the white girl, and M'Baku is huge. Anyway, so I think that when you have the source material, unless you're doing it chronologically, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, you really need to. If video game, you can go, here's the whole thing, and we can go. Because a video game, yeah, sure, it takes 16 hours to play, but if you look at all you have, I don't know. Ooh, sorry, I'm kind of ranting.
No, you're good.
Or rambling.
Well, and I also think it depends on the format of the video game itself. Take Pokemon, for example, right? Detective Pikachu.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I thought it was awesome.
I was nervous.
I thought it was awesome.
I really wanted the second one. I have a sad fact for you about that movie.
Oh.
Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, I'll tell it to you really quick. I didn't mean to interrupt it, but Professor Oaks was going to be in that movie, and Robin Williams was going to play him, and they had just asked him in 2014, but he didn't. So that is why we did not have a Professor Oaks.
Oh.
Because the only Professor Oaks that the creators of Pokemon wanted was gone. Just like if we ever make a Legend of Zelda movie, the creators are disappointed because they loved that man, and he loved Zelda. You know what his daughter's name is, right? Robin Williams' daughter is named Zelda. Zelda Williams.
I did not know that.
She's a wonderful voice actress. She played the woman with no arms in Legend of Korra.
Really?
Yep. Zelda Williams. You can look it up.
Okay.
So he loved Legend of Zelda.
That makes me really depressed.
He loved the video games you loved, and he's one of my favorite voice actors. So he is
a legend.
Yep. So Detective Pikachu.
Yes. Oh, now I'm depressed.
I'm so
I don't want to continue.
We're done. Good night, everyone.
Night.
We'll see you later, pitches.
No.
Oh.
With Detective Pikachu, I thought that was clever the way they did that, because you kind of have your classic, you have your boy, right, or your main character get his first Pokemon, and there's a journey, right, and there's all all of the plot, and then there's also the twist, right? Because instead of just I'm gonna battle over and over and over, and I'm just gonna abuse my Pokemon to get money and to get other Pokemon.
You want me to lose?
Instead of doing that, it's like this whole thing we're trying to find my dad. And Pikachu is like, yeah, he was my he I'm connected to him somehow. I think he was my whatever
He's my partner.
partner, whatever. Turns out, spoiler alert, Pikachu is the dad.
What?
Anyway,
Wow, you just spoiled that. How dare you?
it's been out for years. Shut up. Anyway,
I'll put a warning for people.
I thought that was clever, because they didn't follow the classic version that you see in the games.
But I wouldn't mind that. I
Yeah.
really wouldn't. But the thing is, that's what the TV show did so well. Well, the TV show ran for long. It finally ended. Oh, I remember when it first...
Ash's journey is over.
I remember watching the very first episode when it first came out. I was like 3. It's a very early memory.
Mm-hmm.
So that was crazy that he's gone. Anyway, but the show really was like, here's the game. We have battles. I think you're right. It was simple, but they took the familiarity and made a twist.
Yeah.
And it was successful.
Everybody knows Pokemon well enough that we could recognize the Pokemon in the movie. And we understood mostly what was going on. And then they also added their own twist. They added a story to it. That's more than just, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was, you know?
Well, with like Lara Croft, with Tomb Raider, I need a movie that, and the newest movie, it wasn't terrible. I definitely think it would be fun to talk about it. And we need to get back to Assassin's Creed. But random thing with video games is that you need to feel like the character. There are some, in the newest renditions of Tomb Raider, the last 3 games, there are some parts where you feel completely desperate, especially because you have just, like, most of the time you have fallen to a very scary situation. First off, in the first game at least, Lara Croft is barely 20, if not 18, like 18 to 20. She's a young woman. And she gets surrounded, and you have to sneak around and be careful because most of these men who are stalking and looking for you, they are massive. And you just feel terrified. And I'm just like, this is scary. And the movie kind of did that for some parts. But you need to try to build off the emotions. You know what part of the movie in Assassin's Creed, you were there for it. It was when they did the leap of faith. And I was like, there better be an eagle cry.
Uh-huh.
And he jumps off and he does it. And then you hear the cry and I screamed. And Tim was like, well, it's okay. But he didn't say that. He didn't. No, Tim didn't judge me at all. But it was just funny because I was like, that was a feeling I loved.
It was iconic. It's something that's iconic in the games, and being able to see it in the movie based on the games is very, very satisfying.
So video games from movies. You played Rogue. You played not Rogue One. Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
When you get the power to pull a stormtrooper in and impale him on your lightsaber, were you just like, oh, I just did that?
It was more satisfying when I was playing Force Unleashed.
Oh.
Because Sam Witwer did such a freaking good job.
He's the best Darth Maul.
He is. I love Sam Witwer. He is such a good Star Wars nerd. And being able to, I don't know, being Starkiller, right? And being able to play through those 2 games was just so satisfying, because it was like, yeah, I've played the Lego Star Wars games, right? And they're awesome.
But
I played I played a bunch of the other older Star Wars games, including the forget what it's actually called, but basically
Knights of the Old Republic.
No, I did play Knights of the Old Republic. That was fun. I'm talking about the one that everybody craps on because it's basically Flight Simulator, but with starships.
Oh. But the feeling that you got playing that, you loved it.
Yeah, and I loved it. And playing through Force Unleashed, right? fighting Darth Vader, fighting the Emperor, right? It was so surreal the first time I beat it because it was like I just did that.
Did you choose light side or dark side in the end?
The first time I went dark.
You did not.
The first time
Dude,
I played
went
it,
full
I went
on
dark.
good. I got
This-
awarded Jedi robes.
Uh-huh.
You got awarded the Sith robes.
Uh-huh.
You're a
The second time I played through it, I played through as the light.
Wow.
It was, yeah, it's just so satisfying to play through and beat all the way, and you get to the end, right, and you fight the Emperor himself. It's just so surreal, and taking that from the movies, right? Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. That scene in Episode 6 at the end where Darth Vader has Luke in front of the Emperor, and the Emperor,
Do it.
basically, he basically says,
Join the dark side.
join the dark side, rule the universe, father and son, blah, blah, blah. And Luke says, I won't do it. Basically,
I'm a
strike
Jedi,
me
like my
down.
Father before me.
strike me down, and Luke throws his lightsaber aside. It's just it's so the feeling I get every time I watch that scene, and the satisfaction that I feel at the end of that movie is the same feeling I got when I beat that game for the first time, and every subsequent time. It's great. It's the same feeling I get whenever I beat a Zelda game. Every time I've beaten a Zelda game, it is so incredibly satisfying. The most recent Zelda game I beat, I beat Wind Waker a couple months ago, and
He's played it many times. I should tell you that.
I have played every single Zelda game. The Legend of Zelda is amazing. I love it so much. Anyway, I beat Wind Waker, and that final cutscene when Link leaps 20 feet in the freaking air, takes his sword and just stabs it right into Ganondorf's skull. It is one of the most intense and satisfying and amazing scenes in the whole series, and it's so satisfying. And that's the feeling that I get when I beat any Zelda game. And I think that is the feeling we should feel when we get a movie, right? When we get a movie based on a video game, I want to feel that.
So it's emotions. We've talked about
Uh-huh.
this so many times. It's the emotions.
Yeah.
So if they did a Legend of Zelda movie,
I don't want them to,
so here's the thing.
but yes.
So I want you to think about this. You've seen Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yes.
I joke about
It
how
is-
that is
it
a
is-
Legend of Zelda movie. At the
Yes.
ending of the movie, do you kind of feel the
Oh,
satisfaction?
absolutely.
So if they did do that movie, you would want to be like, you see that movie over there?
Mm-hmm.
This random movie about a boy who has origami powers fighting his grandfather, the Moon Spirit, has to get 3 pieces of magical armor and fight him. You're telling me that you can't make a movie about Legend of Zelda and copy that? Like, to me, it's like this movie did a better job doing a Legend of Zelda than any Legend of Zelda movie will. And if they do
Yeah.
make one, I would tell people, Kubo and the Two Strings, watch it. Just go with that. It might seem simple and cookie cutter, but you felt the emotions.
Yeah.
Do you want them to change anything about Link?
No.
Make him have black hair.
No.
Make him have red hair.
I mean, he does have pink hair in one
No,
of the
we're going to
games.
do a Legend of Zelda movie where he is an adult and Zelda and him are married, and they are going to train their child to be the hero. They have been married, they
Uh-huh.
live, and they are the... But you see what I mean? Is I feel like they
Uh-huh.
would do something weird like that if they made
Yeah.
a movie.
I feel like
And you just be like,
Nintendo, if Nintendo was in charge of it, the whole franchise, the whole Zelda franchise has so many great cutscenes.
they're such a cute couple.
there are so many great, fantastic, and beautiful cutscenes that I feel like if Nintendo really put their minds to it and decided, okay, I think instead of a video game this time, we're going to do a movie, they could, and it would work. But that's only if Nintendo were the ones that were in charge.
Well, look at Super Mario
Completely.
Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers was fantastic. That was a good movie.
Because I felt it took liberties. It
Mhm.
took some things. I do like that they were originally from Earth, because they are. And I do love at the end, they get the superstar and they feel invincible. They beat Bowser, whatever. And it had some sweet moments. But the epitome of that movie was Rainbow Road. When they jump and fly
Mhm.
and they land on Rainbow Road, I was trying to grab my controller. I was ready.
I did too.
And when the blue shell comes, the anxiety I got from the blue shell, even though it was a unique
Dude.
story, I was like,
Uh-huh.
that is how you do it. So I think did you have a point?
Yeah, so just a funny thing. Watching the Mario movie for the first time, I actually pulled my phone out and held it like a remote because I just had to hold
You had to
the-
hold on to something. I think I was like, I saw my friend and we all at one point went like this and jerked when Mario had a turn real hard. And it was like, it felt like we were playing Mario Kart. And that's fine. It's about emotion. I don't care if the story isn't perfect. The story wasn't perfect in Mario Brothers, but the emotions were wonderful. The scene where Donkey Kong and Mario are reminiscing about their dads, and Mario's like, well, my dad looks down on me too. Well, your dad's right. Like, it's just funny, and it was good.
Mhm.
It's just about emotion. So I think going back from this video game tangent, which I think we've kind of solved when it comes to books and video games, is when you're working with the source material and you're transitioning to something else, keep the emotion from that thing, unless it's something that was unsuccessful. If you're taking an unsuccessful book and trying to do a movie, fine, find the best parts about it. What emotion? Like Jumper.
I was thinking The Adventures of Dodd.
What's that?
Exactly.
It's is that a game? Is that a movie?
No, it's a book.
Oh,
It's a book that appeared on the shelves of every elementary school, middle school, high school, and it just sat there untouched. You can go to the DI and you'll find it. You'll find like 6 copies every time you go.
was it about a boy?
I don't actually. I
Did he
tried.
have like weird spiky hair? Did it look like it was drawn by Tim Burton? What did you
Maybe.
call it?
The Adventures of
I
Dodd.
might have read it, and it was that forgettable.
Yeah. If they did a movie and they took the main theme and they made it good, might be redeemable. But
Of Dodd.
Dodd, DOD. Anyway, that was terrible. And
Oh no! Oh my gosh! What is this?
yeah,
Why does the cover look like it's some weird, like, Christian cheesy Bible poster? Look at that.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, it's a 3.7. No,
No.
there's a lot of books out there that I would like. Charlie Bone and the Glass House is. That would have been a great story. I would love that. It was dark and gritty. I would go for a PG-13 approach because I was in junior high when I read it, but I am a 28-year-old now. I want to see it dark and gritty. It is what Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, that dark and gritty, what they wanted to be. And I know Percy Jackson's like, it's pretty dark. Well, it's
Percy Jackson's not really that dark.
no. Charlie Bone though was like, you're going to torture a child for centuries because he's a werewolf. And you're like, oh, geez. Or it's like, we're going to have one child like melt. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like it was good. It was good. And the tapestry, there's a bunch of, it was definitely the height of Harry Potter inspired books. And I don't care what people say, we would not have Percy Jackson without Harry Potter. And you all can get
it's
mad.
true.
Y'all can get mad. Some people get really offended from that. But no, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't have Harry Potter without Star Wars. Zach.
Nope, you
No,
right.
I think
you
it was.
right.
I think it was Lance. My buddy Lance. It might have been Zach. I think it was Lance though. Sent. We have a little group chat with our our friend group, and he sent us a video on YouTube, and the premise of the video is basically Star Wars and Harry Potter are the same exact thing. It's a young orphan boy who lives with his aunt and uncle, and his uncle refuses to accept that magic exists and refuses to tell the orphan about it. An old wizard, an old magic dude with a old bearded dude, comes and takes the boy to teach him magic, and then the boy ends up learning more magic from an older, crazier wizard magic dude who's high all the time, and it was just this whole thing, and it explained that they are one and the same.
They're very,
but it's a different approach.
It's a hero's journey.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's an archetype. It's not the story itself. I just realized you're wearing a Ray Bradbury shirt, and that's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
This is my Bro Gym shirt. That was my dad. My dad has a Fahrenheit 451 shirt. It was getting ruined, and he gave it to me, and I turned it to a gym shirt. And the amount of people will look at me and go, "You're wearing a book shirt to the gym?" Like, yeah, because I'm not stupid.
I can read.
I have a
good book.
It is, and I have a big brother. I have a 1984 shirt to go with it.
Nice.
It's not cut up. That one I wear because it's really nice. I also have Mouse in the Motorcycle.
Nice.
But no, archetypes. I feel like it's okay because we've talked about this many times. There's so many stories that have been told throughout history. We can look through different cultures and find similarities in all stories. We know that many people look the way, and we can either think of morals, emotions, and what we want people to feel, what they want to learn, and what they want to take away from this movie. And I also feel like most movies nowadays, you're not really able to take away anything. Civil War was a great movie about division. It was perfect for the election season, and it was one of the best movies to come out then. And it was also very nice because people were saying Team Iron Man, Team Cap. So I just feel like with emotions and working with something, you need to just try to capture how they felt. When Dumbledore died, spoiler, in the movie, it hurt just as bad as the book. When Snape died, it felt just as bad as the book. Is it the movie's perfect? No. Are they great? Yes. I love them.
You can nitpick all you want with those stories, right? You'll find holes everywhere. I don't care that Hogwarts is basically the Illuminati running the world with their laws and rules. I don't care, right? All I care about is that it's a good story. It's fun. It's enjoyable, and I get good. I have fun feelings and emotions every time I watch the movies and I read the books. And every time I think about it, it's so iconic, and the emotions and feelings they all play into that. Think about it this way, right? I want any movie that I watch, I want when I see the villain, I want to feel about that villain. I want to feel the same way I felt about Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter.
Maybe not that bad, Tim. Not that bad.
I want to hate the villain.
I like being torn though, because Voldemort
was good. I hated Voldemort. But if you
had a room, if
I had a room with
just Dolores and Voldemort, who were you punching first?
No. If I had a gun, two bullets, right? Room with Voldemort, Dolores Umbridge, and Lucius Malfoy. I'd shoot Dolores Umbridge twice.
Lucius isn't...
I'd shoot her twice. She's just that bad.
I like Malfoys. I know the Malfoys aren't perfect, but I sympathize for them.
Yeah, I like Draco, because his story is... Draco Malfoy's story is almost a broken redemption.
The movie didn't do him justice.
No, it didn't. The book... In the 7th book, he redeems himself.
He does.
And he and Harry when they're sending their kids off to Hogwarts
They give a
later,
little.
they see each other and they nod with respect, and I got goosebumps just now, right? And that's the whole point of this.
Oh,
That's the whole
well,
freaking point.
they had the little nod in the
Uh-huh.
movie, and
They did.
and it was. We're going off on big,
did.
but the thing is, I was talking to Tim. I think the biggest reason why I wanted this tangent to happen is because moving forward, I think because we're just going to keep coming across this issue of what we want, and to me, the answer is simple: what are the emotions we want the audience to feel? Lately, movies, shows have just been big political statements. I don't know what to feel. I just feel annoyed, or I'm not getting the general feel of the iconic thing. Rogue One, I felt like I wanted to run home and plug in A New Hope. My father
Uh-huh.
went and saw that movie when it first came out. And I asked him when Rogue One came out, I think I've told you all this so many times. When I asked him, Dad, how'd you like Rogue One? He saw it before me for a work party. And he goes, that was one of the best Star Wars movies I've ever seen, because he felt like he could go home. The prequels,
I like the prequels. The sequels don't exist. Go listen to my episode for my pitch for episode 7.
we can drop, what is it called when you
I'm shamelessly plugging.
yes,
our own
we can
episode.
do shameless plugs on our darn show. Gosh diddly darn it, we can do whatever we want. Anyway, go listen to Tim's episode. It's a great one. The version that Tim has made of Luke is the one I go, because it's the emotions, how I felt. The young Jedi who looks at the Emperor and says, I am a Jedi like my father before me. And you see poor Darth Vader looking at him, because Luke had just told Darth Vader, please work with me. And he's like, it's too late for me, son. You know, he's
Then
like,
my father is truly dead.
but yet
Uh-huh.
after Darth Vader says that, because it's not Anakin, Darth Vader says that, he says, I'm a Jedi like my father before me. Not Darth Vader, but Anakin. And the Emperor's just like, you fool. Like, it just, but that Luke, who looked at the Emperor dead in the eye and said, I am a great Jedi like my father, and to look at him and say, I don't care what you've done to him, I don't care what he's done, he was once a great Jedi, and I plan to be like him and bring honor back to the sky. Sorry. I really love Anakin, and I love Luke. I love Darth Vader. I love the amount of clips I've seen of just them painting a picture of Darth Vader and Luke is so beautiful. And the Luke that I saw, and it's funny that I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I'm sitting across from one of the biggest, that I feel this way about the newest Luke and how much I hated it. I can't imagine. I do imagine, because you literally had like a come apart one time when we talked about it. So you made up your own.
Mhm.
And guess what you did?
No,
you
I
worked
didn't-
on those emotions.
I didn't create a new Luke Skywalker. I took the Luke Skywalker I know and love,
and how you felt.
and I made him a little bit older and gave him a new setting.
And round of applause. Holy crap. Why can't we do that? Emotions are what drive it. The success of the newest God of War video games. Why are they so successful? Our emotions. Because even though we still get a feeling of the old Kratos, the redemption that we're getting after his fall after the third game,
We're seeing him
rooting for
work.
him.
We're seeing him travel with his son and teach his little boy how to be a god. Basically,
it's such a good. You need to play him. You need to play him. Get him somehow. Play him. If you need to borrow this, play it. Just come over.
I've got a key.
Just come over. Spend an afternoon. If I'm ever out of town, just come over and just play it. I need to get it back. But yeah, it's. Maybe I could steal my PS4 from my little sister, and you can borrow that for like a weekend and just go crazy. Actually, you can just borrow it and just.
If I
beat 'em
have
both.
time.
That's
the thing.
true. That's
I'm
true.
a full-time student,
I'm
and I
a
work,
full-time husband.
and that too.
I'm a full-time bachelor now. It's sad. Anyway, Emotions, emotional damage. I don't mind emotional damage. I just don't make it crappy emotion. Don't emotional damage me that I hate the character you've made. Like the Assassin's Creed movie, I didn't feel like it was a game I would have played. I didn't feel like it was part of the game. I felt like it was just a deranged story.
Mhm.
And
Maybe a backstory.
a
For another
backstory.
game.
It just, yeah, it felt like it was. It made me go, I want more of this assassin because this is an Assassin's Creed movie. I would love to have seen, like, the first time he kills someone and he takes the blade out. Like, he gets an epic fight. He's failing. He's messing up. And he finally does a little jump, the epic pose in the air, winds up,
Classic.
lands on the dude and says the prayer, like blesses him in Spanish, or says like a final note in Spanish, just like how Ezio says it in Italian. I would have died. I've been like, this is amazing. I expected him to say something to one of the guys he killed in the game. I love how I'm like holding my finger out like the blade. But it just, I didn't get that. And that's probably why I think, because I've played a lot of the older games, and honestly, the newer games don't really feel like Assassin's Creed games to me. They feel like these open world, do whatever you want sandbox, which I'm fine and I get it. That's probably why Breath of the Wild, you might not like me for this, but
We've had this conversation.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom just don't like them. I love the stories, but those stories are the cutscenes and whatever. I'm like, I can do this. I would rather watch the cutscenes than play the game because I'm like, this is boring. I don't feel like I'm playing Legend of Zelda. I'm not that excited. I don't imagine Link sitting there, I'm going to craft a giant sword. It's like, you just work to get Master Sword, go. But I'm talking to someone who really loves Legend of Zelda, so I'm going to stop before you go.
You're talking to someone who has created his own Zelda games.
Anyway.
But no, I understand that it's a different feel. And honestly, that is how it goes, right? Legend of Zelda is taking a new turn. That's what happened with Ocarina of Time. We went from the 2D Zelda games to Ocarina of Time. It was 3D, and it kind of set a precedent for 3D Zelda games. And then we get to Breath of the Wild, and now it's open world 3D, and that's a whole new.
Well, I wouldn't
thing.
mind open world. I just want more of a streamline. Legend of Zelda was always streamlined.
I understand. And I think that feeling that you have is exactly what is driving us to talk about this today, because these games, right, the Assassin's Creed games feel like the games, and then the movie doesn't.
Yes.
And it's in contrast, Uncharted games. I love those games.
Love them. Great games.
My mom has them, and I played the third one most recently.
Oh,
beat it. Awesome. I think the third one is my favorite out of the first three.
I'm a sucker for that fourth one.
I haven't played the fourth.
Oh.
I played the first three, and they're great. And the movie that we got with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg,
Mocky Mock.
It was awesome, and that movie felt like Uncharted. It felt like it to me, and I think the way they did that is they took the characters we already know and love, with Sully and with Nathan Drake, right? We gave Nate and Sully a backstory and a history as to why they're together, why they're good friends, why they are partners, why they do what they do. And that, I don't know.
I guess I really watch it.
I really liked that connection between the movie and the games, because it felt connected. It didn't feel like it was interrupting. It just felt cohesive as one big whole together. Instead of, the first and second games, and then we stick the movie in between the second and third game.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded that with certain movie adaptations. If there was like, all right, here is another, like this could have been another part of the world. Like they could have maybe hinted in the movie that they had just captured Desmond and they're trying to get another piece of the apple.
Mhm.
Like they could have done so many things to like link it more. Because I
Yeah.
think the only thing I've seen with Uncharted is Nathan is. Did I say Uncharted? Yeah, Uncharted.
Mhm.
Nathan is falling onto the
You-
cargo.
You've seen
Isn't
the
that-
trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. And but like no, I'm pretty sure like at the beginning of the movie,
is-
of the
it
movie
is-
starts right there, right?
It is right there.
And that is awesome because guess what happens in most of the games? You wake up and you're like is it the third game? You like wake up in a train and it's like pointing down, right? Or is that the second?
I think that's the second.
Or that's the fourth. No, the fourth game is okay. But like just crazy stuff like that, and you're
Mhm.
just like, and I was like, that is awesome. I was watching at the gym and I was like, okay, that right there, that is how it should be. An interesting one more random side note, and then we'll really just focus on Assassin's Creed because I feel like this talk was very needed because we're probably gonna do more video game adaptations. So if we cut this here and nip these ideas in the bud, then we can just turn people toward it. Anyway, Jumanji.
Okay.
They had a movie before.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Scared me to death when I was younger.
Loved it with Robin Williams.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we brought him up again. I'm sad.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, he's been gone for 10 years now. No. Next year, he'll be gone 10 years.
Jumanji.
Jumanji. I haven't seen the second one, the second of the newer movies.
I haven't either.
So I can't say what for that. But the first game, to completely have them, the goal of it was to feel like that they were trapped, and they just said, "Here's a fresh new take. What if the game trapped people in the video game?" And they did a good job in incorporating those 90s video games where you only have 3 lives. You play the game. If you lose all 3, you die. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
The stakes you get when you only have 1 life left, and they kind of have the point of, we already only have 1 life. We need to just live it and take risks. Loved that message.
Yeah.
When they
eating cake to lose a life.
eating cake, that would be my
It
weakness.
was hilarious.
But the ending, when they finally put the statue on top, and they all look up and yell Jumanji, I teared up
Mhm.
because I remembered Robin Williams looking at the hunter in the eye, and he goes, "Any last words, boy?" Jumanji, and he, damn it. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about Robin Williams too much, but Jumanji, and they won, and it was so good.
Mhm.
Just again, the emotions I felt because they incorporated the video game feel. Then they had little hints of the old movie here and there, but that ending feeling of beating the game and feeling the relief of that world getting healed, whether it was the modern world like in the old movie or the video game world like in the newer movie, it felt good, and it reminisced, and that's why it probably hurt so good because they all look up Jumanji. We have to say the name Jumanji, and it just I teared up. I literally was like, I don't know why I'm crying, but I am. And then I watched the old Jumanji as soon as I got home, and
Mhm.
it made me terrified because that game was terrifying. Like when the dad in the beginning of the movie picks it up, my kid's gonna love this. I was like, oh, and then the kid looks at it and goes, meh, and he doesn't want it. It was awesome. And then the game goes, oh, and sorry, the point being, it did well
Because
playing with the emotions of what an old video game was and playing with the emotions of how we felt from the first movie.
it took what we already loved and it brought it back in a new format.
Nostalgia.
Uh-huh.
It was a good form of nostalgia building. It was successfully done.
Very,
Okay.
very well done.
I actually have one more random tangent because I want to ask you about it because we've talked
Okay.
about it briefly. Arcane,
Arcane.
the Netflix show. Have you not seen that?
No.
Oh, that wasn't you. Never mind
No.
then.
I don't have Netflix.
Okay.
I don't pay for it because Netflix is kind of poopy now. All the other
there are
streaming
bunch of
services are
shows.
better.
There are a bunch of shows. I might rent it for like a month for 1 month and just be like, just go ham and then stop. I've done that before. I do that many times. I'll be like Netflix for a month and then bam. Anyway, wow. So anyway, there is a successful show on Netflix called Arcane. I recommend it to everyone. It is based off of the third-person RPG. I don't even know what it properly is. League of Legends. And yet they've made one of the best shows. I am waiting for part 2. Part 1 came out 2020. One of the best shows I have ever watched on Netflix. Like, up there with Stranger Things. I am so excited for it. Anyway, I guess maybe someday we'll have to have a talk about it. But that game is a game that is a show that I think was so well done because they said, here's little basic things, but they just worked so well with our emotions and they were so unique with them.
Mhm.
So, back to the topic at hand after that, like 25 minutes of...
I think it was more like 45.
This episode is brought to you by video games, and that is what it's going to be about. So, anyway, I don't know. But I think with this movie, I just didn't have that feel. The only time I really felt it was the eagle crying, and him doing the leap of faith. The leap of faith. It was so important. I think that big machine was a big distraction because we kept seeing him jump around, and it just broke the feel. It didn't give us this high stakes because I didn't feel anything towards this character of his ancestor Aguilar, and I think that's why it felt so... Like it would have been cool just to follow Aguilar, see him struggle, see his... without having Michael Fassbender be... Is that his name? I'm scared I'm saying the wrong actor.
Pretty sure it is.
Anyway, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I think if you're gonna do a movie based on a book, video game, other movie, or history, you need to follow you need to follow the source material.
Oh, he's Irish. I forget that.
You've got to, with books, if possible, I think you need to work with the author. There are some exceptions to that. I think Harry Potter did just fine without J.K. Rowling's help. The movies.
Yeah. I mean, she was there for... She gave some creative advice. But,
yeah.
Because we need to credit her with Snape.
Yes. Yes.
Because she told Alan Rickman, miss him too, Alan Rickman about what the end goal was Snape. She's like, Snape was in love with his mother. That's all you need to know.
He is the only one that knew
that big secret. For like the entire time. Yep. And then it came out and he was like, yeah, I knew that.
Uh-huh.
Why do you think I've been playing it like this? And everyone was like, and I'm so glad she did that because if she didn't,
it would have been a different feel.
You hate this boy. Why? Oh, well, we don't know why. Okay, then how about we have the author come in and tell you why? And she just had that. And that was such good writing on her part to have that idea now and not just be like...
No, and I will give her credit. She is a fantastic author. I just feel like in recent years, the whole retconning stuff...
Yeah, I knew that.
With the original series, fantastic job. I think she did one of the best jobs out of any author could with what she had and what she was given. And with that kind of story, I don't think very many people could do better. Maybe Brandon Sanderson, but that's because he's the man, the myth, the legend.
Someday he will. I just want one letter from him because we talk about him so much. So with this movie, I think that there's not a lot I've already talked about how I would have changed it. I definitely wouldn't have focused so much on his past. Maybe had a few flashbacks. I probably wouldn't have had it with Abstergo. I definitely would have had the Animus just been the chair. And I probably would have had the big big old fight at the end. I just would have had them getting away and them maybe hinting. I would not have had them getting the apple. I would have just had them that it connected to Desmond somehow and Ezio.
Maybe they get the apple and give it.
Well,
to
because
them.
it's supposed to take place in 1492, and Ezio's life, like the story of Ezio starts in like 1496, and it's like easily that apple could go from Spain to Italy or something. Like, because they were like trying to fight for it, easily could have been that the Templars got it and they lost it and they wasted their time with, or it could have just been a building block, just how these other assassins were just breadcrumbs. Aguilar was another breadcrumb that led to Ezio, and it would have been great, and it would have been like, oh, cool, now I want to go play the second game again. It just, things like that, just connecting that. But this movie made me go, so is this character out there? Is this canon? I don't want it to question. I would have been like, I don't know. It's unless if the movies were, if the video games were done, I would have been like, all right, this is a fun, unique thing. It's a fun little way. But since it's not done and still going, it's like, I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing.
Got Mirage.
I don't want to play it. I don't want to. I don't want to. You're going to play your Mirage and you're going to like it. I don't want it.
You're going to play video games and you're going to like it.
I want to do my homework first. No. 5 hours of video games. No.
My wife and I joke about that all the time.
Not until you beat your video game. But the boss is playing Dark Souls. Not until you finish the boss. I've been fighting him for 5 hours.
That would be a...
I love video games. I love books. I love movies. I love stories. And I feel like stories nowadays aren't being told well. And that's why we have this podcast.
And I will say, it does definitely feel like everything's been done. The archetypes, the story archetypes we have generally feel like they've been done a million times, and so creating a new story is kind of difficult. I understand, but just put a little bit more thought into it, a little more effort.
What do you want your audience to feel? What morals do you want them to take? What lesson do you want them to learn? What do you want them walking out of your theater or putting down the book? What do you want them to feel near the end? Keep that emotion in your head. Write it down and say, this is what I want them to feel at the end. And then go about and work from there. What do you want the ending to be? And then go with the beginning and go from there. That's how I would want to write things.
As an author, telling stories, it's something I enjoy. As a dungeon master, playing D&D, I enjoy telling these stories, and if you want to tell a good story, and we've talked about this a million times, there's a million different things.
And we're probably going to keep talking about it until if you all want to email us about it, hearmeoutpitchpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know if you're sick of hearing us. Go ahead. Do it.
If you want more. Anyway,
or tell us your own pitches. I don't care. I would love to read some of your guys' pitches.
That would be cool.
I know. I would love that.
I would like that. I do think. Email. Anyway, so to tell a good story, there's a million parts that go into telling a good story. And one of the biggest things for me when I'm writing is I'll take the end product. What do I want to accomplish? How do I get there? That is how you create the skeleton, right? You start with the end goal, and then you figure out how the heck you get there and work backwards.
Journey before destination.
Thank you. Thank you. Except in this case, it's the other way around. Destination before journey.
Well, not really.
Because you want to figure out what the end goal is before you figure out how.
Well, and I think that's why that still implies. Because you have to have the journey before the destination. So I think that your scheme still works with that saying, is because you have your destination, but there has to be a journey before it.
Yeah.
For all of you out there who skip at the end of the book, shame on you. But I understand. It's tempting. But still, shame. Shame.
If you're one of those people...
You do whatever you like.
I will not talk to you.
Do whatever you like.
Just
It's
kidding.
fine. We still love you. But
Yep.
ooh,
I think with storytelling, it is difficult to tell a good story. There are so many parts that go into it. And these people that are creating these movies, I don't hate them. Or even if I hate the movie, I don't hate the people that write the movie, that write these stories because they're trying.
and Tim,
And that is hard.
I think we do need to give some. I will give some empathy because there are many other voices that affect what goes into movies nowadays. There are many things that will change things. There are actors they need to pick. So there's a lot of things that can affect a movie. But I think at this most part though, a good story, if you write a good story, it should be safe. If we really just focus on what we want and hear a good story, then we should be okay. But if we get, I don't know, maybe we're blaming Hollywood writers too much and we're not really thinking about the corporations behind them. And maybe
I'm going to blame Hollywood as an entity itself.
and that's why the strike is probably so important it's happening.
Mhm.
Do I still think that they do allow for some lazy writing? Absolutely. There definitely is. But I hope that a lot of you listening don't think that we are typically here just completely blaming and say it's and that it's all the current writer's fault. I do know that I do know and accept that there are aspects of the world that are going in and it's especially with some of the population today to tiptoe around certain subjects or do certain things, it might be difficult. But really, I feel like a story is a good story. And I feel like we just need to work on just getting the right thing. If we need to write stories to make it so that any person could play a character, fine. Make it ambiguous. Maybe we should just, when you write a story for Hollywood, you just say, here is the goal, here's the thing, here's the characters, here are the goals. You fill out the blank. We just want chemistry here between these two characters, chemistry here between these two characters. This is what our goal is for these two characters, like things like that. If you need to make it open ended and do mad libs with actors and race and color, fine. But I feel like just a good story can still be written nowadays, regardless of
Yeah.
the political and emotional turmoil that we are in nowadays.
We saw that with Cross the Spider-Verse.
Did you not like it?
Oh, I loved it. I'm saying
Oh, okay.
I'm
was
saying
like
a story can be told well, and that's a great example of it.
it was so good. I can't wait for part
It
two.
is every
Oh.
time it gets brought up, it's
I can't wait, and I was
Mhm.
very satisfied with that ending.
agreed.
So yeah, thank you. That is a wonderful and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I mean 3. Sorry,
that was another good story.
movie that I think
Mhm.
the movie which I think wasn't really affected by political standpoint, but just because of, in my opinion, lazy writing and just hoping on success of the last movie was Love and Thunder. I think that movie solely was hoping to build off of Love and Thunder. If that movie came out before Endgame and Infinity War, yeah. But it just wouldn't have worked. It just anyway. I think in closing for me, my final words are that we have mentioned many times that emotions and nostalgia are what we want. Emotions are what are so key. And if you're going to work with what something people love, do your research on how they felt and try to recapture that magic, which for me is why this movie fell flat.
Mhm.
Kind of like how you saw Man of Steel, with that it was a decent movie,
Just not a good Superman
just not a good
movie.
super. This movie was a decent movie, just not a good Assassin's Creed movie. Well, any final thoughts for them, Tim?
No, I think we hit it on the head. And again, I'm sorry if every episode we kind of do the
More
whole,
like every other episode, but still.
we do repeat ourselves, and yes, we are pretty redundant with our opinions, but it's important that we kind of that we show these emotions and these feelings about these things.
Well, like I said before, we would love to hear from you guys about it. And if you really do, I said it wrong. The email is just hearmeoutpitch@gmail.com. Hearmeoutpitch@gmail.com. One more time. So we'd love to hear from you guys. I really think we probably get enough of you guys that we probably could get a few emails. And honestly, send us some of your ideas. Send us of what you would change in certain movies, books, whatever. We'd love to hear it. And maybe someday, if we get enough, we'll do an episode and read them. I don't care. So, but thank you guys.
Until next time, we'll see you later, pitches.
Bye.